Hey everybody, so we're going to do something different here. I'm going to dive deeper into the word of the day, which was adjust. We got two angel number cards. We have stepping up, being empowered. I'll read a bit more there. Being empowered, balance, trust, alignment, companion, love, karma. 2222. And then we had well of the soul, which I'll read a bit there. Believe you can succeed, deep knowing, take it to heart, soul purpose, trust yourself. One. Both of these cards are heightened in green. We're looking at our heart. The brief message, the word of the day, if you came from there, you already have a backstory. If not, I'll go over it briefly here. So we're looking at adjusting and going off those two angel number cards. We're either working on a project or a goal. This could just be in the workplace as well, personal, strive, something professional. But then what came through also was another energy I brought up that I had to deal with. And I'm not sure if this is something that we're dealing with, in the external that we're trying to work with that may be holding us back or limiting us in our own minds or our own progress. Or if we're working as a team, obviously it's going to hold us back. But also, this could be maybe we embodied an energy like this. And this energy, in general, is it's a bit close minded, it is one way, and sometimes it gets so frustrated that it comes off as a child at times. So if we could picture, let's just say we're working on a project and we can only we run into a problem or it's not going to work the way that we want it to work. Well, the world has ended. There is no other way to accomplish this. And we're going to stew on that and we're going to put all of our energy and we're going to focus on that and stare at it and hope it changes, but it's not going to change because we have to adjust. We have to figure out another way to accomplish it. This could be a very small problem or a very large problem. But to this energy, whether we are embodying it or another that we're working with, uh, it is impossible. It is the only thing we can focus on, and it is the end of the world. It is detrimental. It is stopping, but it is not that big of a deal from a different perspective. Again, if you're embodying this energy, that's okay. We can work through this. If we're working with somebody that is embodying this energy, it is difficult. And sometimes, if you are a third party to this energy, it is easier for you to just do it yourself at that point because the other individual, they only want it done this way, but it can't be done that way. And that's where the word adjust comes through. The word adjust does not mean give up. It does not mean stop. It does not mean the end of the world. It means maybe take a break and see a different viewpoint. We can take a step back and see things differently when we get out of this way of it can only be done this way. This is also with manifesting, in general, in our goals, when we are very close-minded and we can only see it this way, or it has to turn out this way, or if it doesn't hit, say there's steps or like milestones to say, hey, this is going to work out, I'm on the right path, and A, B, C, and D, and we got A done, and we're coming up to B, and B doesn't happen, and we think we're failing, or uh-oh, I'm not going to be able to pay my bills, or whatever it may be, or maybe we jumped to C and skipped B, but we were really worried that B had to be done first. A lot of these things that hold us back, and then our mind gets control of that. And granted, we're already really good at manifesting. Doesn't matter if it's positive or good. We can do it no matter what. We probably see a lot more negative if we're in that mindset. And we are creating that by dwelling on it or sending our energy there. So, going back to just these angel number cards, believe you can succeed. The heart, this love. Love is in this one. We are stepping up. What else? And just the balance. Balance is balancing the act. If we're trying to go this way and it's not going to work, well, it's going to balance out with doing it a different way. We have to trust in ourselves, divine, God, source, universe, whatever you subscribe to, and believing in ourselves that we can accomplish this, whether it's big or small. It could be as small as, writing a paper and it doesn't make sense. Well, we just got to take a chance to figure out the right words to use to make it make sense. Or building a house, you know, oh, you're going to run into a lot of problems. You're going to have to adjust and go with the flow. Same thing with weather. As simple as having plans and trying to go on a picnic and it pours that day. We're going to have to adjust. Is the day over? Is it ruined? It all depends how we decide to handle that. So I'm going to connect here. I'm going to ring bells. They might be a little loud. And then I'll see if I get any visions, and then we'll pull some cards. Immediately I was drawn back to the like an experience may have had as a child of going to the beach for a family vacation, and it's really sunny and you're on the beach, and then it's going to start to pour, and we're thinking, well, I'm only there for X amount of days. you know how what a waste. I paid all this money, I'm here, and it's pouring. But then there was other things we could do. You could actually relax that day, you know, a true relaxation without having to worry. No, you're still worrying that you have to leave to go home soon. Uh, as a child, you go to the boardwalk maybe and go to arcades indoors, something indoors. Shopping. Why would I want to go shopping and spend money? I'm running out of money. A lot of these worries and fears, uh, just in general, I don't think it's fully focused on that, but the idea of going back, I planned a picnic and it's going to rain, and now it's ruined. You know, that plan was ruined. I put a lot of energy and excitement into that, and we allowed it to really get us down. Depending on what we're working on, whether it's for, personal enjoyment or like a deep-seated goal to feel some sort of stability or comfort in our life, uh, it is our choice to allow it to control us because it doesn't work the way we had it planned, or internally, this certain object or accomplishment would have created stability or safety inside of us, and then said, okay, well, then I can feel comfortable, or then I can, finally relax. Going back to that idea of being on vacation, it rained, and now I'm going to be indoors. I'm going to have to sit there in this place that I rented and uh, relax. But all I'm going to do is dwell on what's not working or what's not happening for me, or that I have to leave soon. It's going to be over. I'm already accepting its failure, that vacation is over, and I still got 4 days because of this rain. This is going back to that energy in the very beginning I was talking about, of I can only see this right here, this problem, because nothing's flowing. And that is a difficult place to get out of sometimes, depending on what it is and how we're letting it affect us. But there's something deeply seated there, and there is more or less probably a fear. And what is that fear? What do we have here, Spirit? Three of Cups, camaraderie. Immediately I'm drawn to the idea of uh, some type of external support, some uh, it's coming through as like a savior experience, that uh, maybe we want help, and just that help, whether physically, financially, or even emotional support, goes a long way. If we're looking at that energy, though, does it really matter? I guess we want it to be our way, and we want, going back to that energy, whether we're embodying it or we're working with it or we're working through it, that energy, if I'm stuck in my way and there's this problem and I can't see it through and I can't get over it, and it has to be done this way, my way or the highway, or I'm going to be in this mood, whatever it may be, this down mood, the world has ended. What's someone in the external actually going to do? Are they going to come in and are they going to make that work? Well, what if they say it can't be done that way either? And it's just how it is. Well, that's not going to help. Do I think if they brought me money then I could make it work that way? No, no, it can't work that way either. So maybe we are hoping that something external is going to make it better. And the only thing that can make it better is us, especially through this greenery, through our heart, the well of the soul. So that's also, I don't want this word to be taken the wrong way, but taking accountability, taking action, taking responsibility, and making a change for ourselves. Two of Swords, inner conflict. Naturally, there would be this feeling of there has to be a level of comfort, security, and then deeply seated, there's this fear. And maybe we've been programmed that way, all of our experience here in this life. Maybe we carried something in. Maybe it's ancestral. And we are going to have to work through that. We're going to have to choose who wants to win. Do I want this fear to lead? And then I accomplish nothing and I stay here in this place, this mood, this space. It's dwelling on this little thing. It could be big. I'm not taking away the size of it. But maybe it is small and we made it huge in our mind. And we can't enjoy anything now on this vacation because this ruined everything. It ruined my plan. It ruined my comfort. My idea of safety and, is leading deep down into this fear. And that is obviously going to be an inner conflict. And only we can correct that when we want to see it. And we have to dig. We have to see what's really rooted here. Where is this coming from? And it probably is some sort of conditioning or programming that was seated in us, that we carried on. And whether it was from an early age, all throughout childhood, from our lineage, how they were raised, they raised the same, and then we got raised that way. Or did something happen that started to mold us this way? And we are afraid to re-experience that. Queen of Wands, charismatic. This word came up, I don't remember how many days ago in my word of the day, and it had to do with higher vibrational beings, light beings, earth angels, chosen ones, star seeds, indigo children, whatever you want to call them. Somebody that has a high frequency and that is emitting it. And it went into how can they continuously emit this frequency when they're dealt shitty hands, when life is hard? How can they still be optimistic and appear charismatic and just, continuously being uplifted when they're normally dealt really crappy hands? Life is hard. It's not easy for them. And it went into, well, they already are that. Their energy's there. I always like to say, like their half-assed day could be somebody's best day that doesn't embody that energy normally, And it's hard to get out of that place when they're still having a human experience. They still have that energy, It is, I'm sorry, they still have the human emotions, Sure, it can be high vibrational and everything, but they're still allowed to be in a mood or be down, and they probably are a lot more than we'd like to believe, but their energy is always admitting this. And being one of these beings that has this energy has to go back to trust and believing you can succeed. You already have it in you, but we're allowing the external to dictate our experience, which I get. We're in the 3D. There's matter, there's material, and everything is leading it. Is our thoughts. Our experience thinks that everything around us is what's leading us or guiding us or controlling us. And we are raised in that way. I get that. But we have to change that. And we have to remember what's really in here, who we are, which is very difficult at times. But just embodying that, going through reminders that, hey, I already am this energy. I just need to put it in the right place. And putting it, dwelling on this failed tragic vacation experience, not saying that's the full story, but using it as an example. Dwelling on that and focusing on that is, I'm so powerful. I'm gonna keep creating things like this, where I'm gonna continue to remind myself. I'm gonna snowball or spiral, and it's gonna be doom and gloom. You know, I'm not exposing. I shouldn't say exposing. Well, I guess I am. The fear. I'm not trying to create fear, but it is. It's what we can do. You know, with all this energy we have, we can create more of it. So, we got Justice card. It came out sideways. I'm going to take it that way. We have Karma, and then Imbalance. Stepping Up, we had Karma as well. This is, obviously, we are very imbalanced because we, I'm getting the feeling that we're in a place of that we still want it. We still have this little bit of hope, but we're allowing the the problem, the issue, to create more dissidence than it has to. And this hope may be in this hoping that something of the external is going to come to correct it, I should say. We need to pull it inward. If we're, hope is great, blessings are real. I'm not taking those away. But when we put all of our eggs in that basket, that's what's going to save us or get us through this, we are giving all of our power away. We need to pull that back, and we need to adjust that main word and find a different way or a different direction, or accept the circumstance for what it is and try harder if you still want it. Otherwise, we'll stay in that place of hopium, if you will. But good karma is there if we want to drive forward. It's there. We have to show interest a little bit more. Otherwise, if we're very strict on this, we'll miss it because it's over here. And I can't see it like that. If I turn my head and see a different way or try something differently, I can correct the issue. I can get to the goal that I want to get to. But the fear, Five of Pentacles, hardship, this fear is real. I've been in negative places financially or mentally plenty of times. And I see plenty of people going through it. How could you not? That fear is real, especially if you've been there. You certainly don't want to go back. It is a real fear. But what created it in the first place? Our internal, our experiences. Maybe we were raised in a hard place financially, or we've lived through hard places and we just want to get out. Who doesn't? I get that. This is really removing, deprogramming the idea that it has to be done this way. This is the only way, and everything around us is going to reinforce that. Just on a side note, but this is going to go hand in hand with this, is if we are in our mind programmed to survive or generate money in a certain way, there's going to be constant reminders of, if we're going a different path to do so, how that's not going to work. And trying to let go of that, there's going to be a lot of pull back to it. There's going to be a lot of hesitation. There's going to be a lot of resistance just in our own experience and every people around us, especially if we are communicating with them about such a thing. They're going to remind you because they probably don't believe it's possible either, or it's a bad idea because they feel unsafe. Excuse me. So then they're going to project that onto you, and then you're going to feel like it's a bad idea or it's not going to work. Then we have the collective energy as well. This is all of our surroundings. There's going to be a lot of resistance, which is going to be a lot of these reminders to say, yeah, you probably shouldn't try that. Yeah, you probably shouldn't do that. So it's going to be all on you. And if we're carrying this fear, where I can only do it this way, there is not really room to wiggle. It's that we're not giving it an opportunity. We're not being open-minded enough, and it could very well fail because we are very close-minded, and maybe we're bringing these fears in, which is creating this closed mind, and everything else around us is going to remind us of that, especially if we are dumping a lot of energy into that fear. Four of Swords reversed. Restlessness. Can't get our mind off of it. Going back to that energy in general of I can't see any other way to do this, and I stopped working, I stopped everything, and I'm just focusing on this problem, and I can't do anything until it's corrected. But it has to be corrected my way, and this is a great opportunity to correct it, but we can't correct it the way that we want it corrected. And until we can see beyond that or come to terms with that, we'll be in that place. And this fear is real and will come, because we're not being open. We're not going to be open enough to see a different way. And I get maybe we can at this time, but until we remove our way of seeing it this way, we won't. Obviously, talking to someone else that is supportive and on your court probably can see a different way or be helpful in another way. But if we're going there in the mood, well, I shouldn't say the mood, but the projected outcome of, getting saved in a way, we're probably not going to get the answer there either, because it's really got to be done internal. It is all us. It is our choice here to open up. And there's probably a wound around this naturally, this fear, whatever this deep-seated fear is. And we have to come to a place to heal it. And this is the opportunity. This is probably why it's getting louder and we can't get off of it. There's a message there. There's a reason. What is it? What is it that we really need to see or let go of? One last closing card here, Spirit, please. Trust yourself. The Hierophant reverse. Rebellion. This is naturally, I was saying, obviously we're doing something that is out of the norm, and we wanted to do it in a way that made us feel safe to continue forward. But right after that, came through, the rebellion idea is rebelling our mind, our mind of what's safe. And I'm not saying physically safe, like what our ego or our shadow, to keep that alive. We do things to keep it safe, to keep it alive. And we need to rebel against it, which is shadow work. We are going to heal something here. It may not be viewed that way. And what we need to let go of or heal from may have served a purpose for a very long time, and probably does in a lot of collective minds here. But it is limiting us with this view and what we feel is safe. I'm not saying it's easy at all, but whatever it is, start looking at it. Start dissecting it from backwards, and you'll get to the point of what needs to be seen. When we let go of this view, which may be difficult depending on what's really going on, the answers always do come. I'll leave it there. If this resonated, feel free to like, comment, share, or subscribe, and I will talk to you all later.